you want to do what planetarians seem to do best and go for it with what you got?
Okay, so let me try to wrap this up while Brian's not here yet. So we're people from all around the world. You can see there's two people from Brazil, Guilherme and I, Brian himself, who is not here right now, and Susan from Kenya, and Bryant from all over. He's from Venezuela, but he's hopping all over. So each one of us made a short video. Brian edited it, so we would show the video. Okay, somebody's okay, and we were ready to show you some of our work, what we call the extreme outreach. Outreach in different and unusual conditions. So we are going back to the live feed, and we have Guilherme and then me, Bryant, and Susan. Okay, Guilherme, up to you. We have more time to talk now because we don't have the video, so feel free to overextend your time.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Thank you all. Sorry for the wrong video. And well, when I was invited to this session, Extreme Outreach, I wasn't thinking that I really do extreme outreach. So I decided to look for the meanings of extreme. And then I thought that maybe I was invited because I'm in the extreme of Brazil, extreme south of Brazil, maybe. Maybe because on Thursday I had -4 degrees Celsius, and today we are going to have 28. So we have extreme difference in temperature. And maybe because last year we decided to travel to more than 20 cities that take us about 60 days in the whole year. We traveled 15,000 kilometers. We had 15,000 kids and about 500 teachers in teacher training courses. Maybe that's why I was invited to this extreme outreach. But last Sunday, when I was thinking, what else could I say today? I was thinking that not only this small group, but these 240 people locked in small windows, we have some extreme care with the content we show in our domes. We have extreme care with the kids that get in the domes. And when we have extreme care with the things, that means that the things we love. That would make us extreme universe lovers. And by universe, I mean not only the wonders of the universe, but also the wonder of discovering it, unveiling the beauty of the universe. And I was not prepared to a live talk, so Alex, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys some pictures. Well, let me say, as Guilherme just presented, let me say why I'm here. So when we decided to do this extreme outreach, I just wanted to show a little bit of the work we used to do in the Rio de Janeiro Planetarium, which is the largest planetarium in Brazil. And I think because of this, we don't have a portable dome. We have 3 fixed domes, but no portable. So whenever we go out of our institution, we break the walls of our institution, we are talking about non-planetarium work. We don't have a dome that we can travel around with. And what happens is we also have the largest public school system in Latin America. It's around 600,000 kids that go to public schools here. And you probably know Brazil has a huge social gap. So usually people that go to the public schools are underprivileged. They don't have the money to invest in their education, and they can hardly come to the planetarium with their families. And since 2015, the schools stopped coming to the planetarium because they couldn't afford the buses. They couldn't afford transportation. So we just decided to take the planetarium to them, but without the portable planetarium. So it's called the Astronomer Go to School. We usually go to the outskirts of the city, the underprivileged areas of the city, and we give a lecture and we take models and we spend the whole day with the whole school and talk to them about astronomy. We are very conscious about that being so much less than a planetarium can do, but since it was not a planetarium or this, it was this or nothing. So we decided to do this program, and we are attending. Well, we are not doing anything now because of the pandemic, but we are attending to the public schools like this. And also, we do have a program that stopped way before the pandemic came about taking telescopes to the favelas. I don't know how many of you know about the favelas here in Rio. They are usually built on hills. So we take the telescope up the favela and put in someone's rooftop and just show the night skies to all these people that would never be able to come to a planetarium. And since we do have some time, I'll try to show you some pictures of this right now here. So this is the typical favela environment. This is a very famous one. You can see that on a video clip of a Michael Jackson song. He take there. And you can see back here the Corcovado Mountain. There's a huge Jesus Christ statue over there. It's still, this is a Michael Jackson statue. That's like a very famous spot here in this favela. And it's still light up. It's still clear. The sky is light because we're watching the crescent moon. So here's the moon. And we are just like in the middle of their houses. And the night sky, and all the kids were gathering, and it was really fun, and people are just in awe. You know, this is the view from up top, from the favela down. And this is the most important thing, you know, the smiles on the kids' face. They see things that they wouldn't see. That's actually me. That's another favela. We did several of them, but we had to stop because of the violence. You know, this territory is controlled by drug lords and militia, and it got very bad lately. So that's it, and I will turn it to Bryant now.
Hello, my name is Bryant Gonzalez. I am from Venezuela, and I represent the project Astronomical Backpacker. I am a backpacker and I travel as one in South America since October 2017. And I decided to travel across the continent teaching astronomy and sharing my knowledges of astronomy and visiting some places far from the big cities and places where people don't have the technology or resources to teach astronomy or to learn astronomy. And I decided to do this project or this the entrepreneur because when I was working in Venezuela, for example, I was working in a planetarium as a planetarium technician. And we developed with the team, we developed some strategies to teach astronomy, not only into the planetarium, but also out of the site, out of the planetarium, in communities, in school, etc. But due to the economical, political, and social conditions and situation in my country, I decided to go and explore the world because I didn't have money or resources to pay buses or plane, and I decided to walk. I decided to hitchhike in South America, and I visited some planetariums to teach what I and my team were developed in Venezuela. Then I have until now visited 7 countries and more or less 190 places and 40 planetariums. Being the last one here in Brazil, and I had the chance to meet to Alexandre and to Guilherme too, Angela Perez, who was in the past presentation. So I have had the chance to participate in the South American Planetarian Society. I had the support of the Brazilian Planetarian Society too. And every activity I do for free, just in exchange of food or lodging, in order to keep advancing in the continent. And now I am in Uruguay. I get here yesterday because there in Brazil, it was a little bit complicated for these COVID-19 things. And well, I decided to came to Uruguay, and I keep advancing with this project of teach astronomy in all places I can visit. So in the presentation, in video, there was a map with the route I trace in my travel, and the quantity of places visited, some pictures of activities I had done with kids, for example, launching rockets, see the sun with solar protection glasses, and a lot of activities for everyone. Because I see that here in this continent, for example, there are a lot of people who like astronomy and places that have wonderful skies. And with this project, Astronomical Backpacker, there is a chance to take the astronomy for them. And that's all I've been doing since almost 3 years. Thank you.
Hi all, thank you very much. I'm joining from Kenya. This is Susan Murabana from the Traveling Telescope. I think in this case, it's women last, and I have good news for you. I have the video. So we saved the best for last. So I'll just go ahead and share the video. And then if you have time, you can ask questions afterwards.
Never let a guy do a woman's job. Thanks, Susan. You saved us all.
Yeah. You're most welcome.
Hang on, and then share computer sound. That's the one. Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
When I was invited for Extreme Outreach panel, I started to think about this word, extreme. Then I decided to take a look into the dictionary, and I found some very interesting meanings for that. Farthest from the center are middle, outermost, endmost.
So we do take our planetarium, it's a mobile one, out to very rural places and reach out to these kids. The distances we have to travel off-road, obviously our equipment is very sensitive, well packaged, but it's still a challenge for us to reach out to some of these places. I think that giving children access to information or alternative ways of understanding science can spark that interest and excitement into STEM careers.
I saw Planet Jupiter set. It was really interesting.
I thought scientists sometimes just make things up, but I've seen it in a way I've not before.
I'm very passionate about science and development, and I just want to share the information. I'm also very passionate about the planetarium, and I have seen the impact it has had on people, especially school kids, and I'd like to share that.
We have a mobile dome, and we travel about 60 days per year, traveling all over the state, covering more than 15,000 kilometers per year, and having about 10 to 15,000 kids visiting our dome, hundreds of teachers in teacher training courses. It is exceeding bounds of moderation. As far as I know, we are the only planetarium in Brazil offering virtual field trips for schools. We are having kids from our state, 100 kilometers away from us, and from very, very far cities in Brazil, about 4,000 kilometers away from us. Certainly, it was the most extreme outreach I have ever done.
This is one of the most infamous Rio de Janeiro favelas. They are encrusted on the hills, and this is a very underprivileged part of town. over 2 million people here in Rio live in this kind of community, the favelas. So it's a really important thing to bring them culture, education, and science. And we did that by taking some of our telescopes up the hills to their rooftops.
There are a lot of people that they don't have access to sciences or technological resources to learn astronomy, for example. And it was a chance to teach astronomy and science, to share my knowledge with children and students and people of all ages. When you go to small places, to small towns and small cities, you have the chance to have a direct contact to people, and talk with them and share with them and live with them and be part of these communities you visited, to understand not only how do they live, but also how do they see the skies. They like the sky. There are a lot of people who don't have the access to sciences, but if we have a heart and the will to teach with with a smile, and with this wish of share what you know, is really amazing.
Eastern North Carolina is home to one of the largest stretches of dark skies along the Atlantic coast, ranging from Boston to Miami. It's juxtaposed by one of the biggest tourist attractions in North Carolina, which would be the Outer Banks beaches. So our mission was really to get out there, survey the night sky, find sites that could be appropriate for public use, and to tie into some ecotourism initiatives all along the way, making sure the public who live in the area are well aware of this incredible natural resource that they have. It's our hope that the research we've done, the outreach we've done, will help spur the local community out there to come together and work to preserve this incredible natural resource they have.
I think for me, success is seeing excitement, or seeing students ask questions or understand concepts that they may have found difficult.
There are a lot of things to do in this continent. This is what I do.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you very much, Suzanne.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And apologies, we don't know why Bryant did not come. He was the pilot for our session. Just a quick one of my favorite extreme outreach moments was going down to a very remote place with the African hot sun and convincing ourselves to be able to set up our planetarium out in the sun. Our feet got burnt and we were not able to because it was windy and everything. And it was disappointing that the kids could not enter into the planetarium. So obviously this brings us a lot of joy, and we do go to extreme places and try to make it happen with our portable planetarium. So perhaps if you have time, we'd be happy to take any questions.
Yeah, if you want to send them over in the chat and start working towards that. We got 9 minutes for questions, so.
And if I may add a little story myself, these people, at least the ones I tended to in the favelas, they are so in need of getting attention that this one night we went there and we're setting up the telescope and was still bright, and it was just cloudy. So we were pretty sure nothing was going to happen. So we just aimed the telescopes to some trees on the other hill, and suddenly there were more than like 25 kids in line just to watch the trees through a telescope. So they really welcomed us, and they really need to get special attention because they want to see the world out there.
Obviously, with what's happening right now, we have restrictions with travel, and we just built a geodesic planetarium in Nairobi. And in ways to our advantage, we hadn't quite completed it. We had started getting guests inside, and it's with a canvas tent. And now we are redesigning it to be COVID-free or COVID-friendly and friendly. Yeah, so it will have a lot of air ventilation, not fully covered, probably used at night and for the audience in the country. So we will be designing something, redesigning our planetarium to make it where people can still come to and in restricted numbers. We've also had to take our mobile planetarium, which is extreme, to the United Nations Environment Program Assembly, where we had heads of states from all over the country, from all over the world, and environment ministers and astronauts enter our planetarium and sit on the floor. And one of the then director for UN was in, and he lost his phone in our planetarium. So we've had that extreme, but it was found, and his security were in with guns, so not knowing, but that was just an extreme kind of thing for us in a different way. We've also had Maasai communities, elders give us traditional stories in our planetarium, because when you set it up in a rural school, you have everyone want to enter, from obviously the teachers to the parents, who sometimes are very traditional cultural people who want to enter with a cultural regalia and try to share stories. And sometimes you have wild animals trying to come in, especially monkeys, for a session in the planetarium.
Do you have your equipment insured? Any and all of you? It wasn't directed at anyone in particular.
Yeah, well, I can say for our telescopes, no, they are not insured. We take a huge risk taking them up these hills.
We don't have insurance for our equipment, just insurance for the people that travel with it.
In my case, I can't. Go ahead, Susan.
Quickly, sorry. Us too, we don't have our equipment insured, although we've always thought of doing that, just because of the kind of roads you have to go through.
How are your programs funded?
On our from here, how we set up our company is we do charge international schools and the wealthy schools, but we don't charge these schools in rural areas. Mostly we do get support either from not-for-profit organizations or companies that want to support us to visit the schools, but mostly we get support we have been getting support from lodges or hotels that are near these really poor areas, because obviously we are a country that depend a lot on tourism as our second source of national income. And this means that we have lodges that would like to support the area by supporting education in the schools. Yeah. And we've also had previously had funding from Airbus Foundation.
Last year we had support from the International Astronomical Union, and we also had some support for a species that I believe it's in extinction, politicians that believe in science, and we got a van that we used to travel all around.
Yeah, obviously our funding has now dried out, so yeah, there is. It's always a hard job trying to reach places and not have continuous funding. So yes.
So here in Rio, the planetarium is owned by City Hall, so we get the funding from them, and we tend to the public schools for free, and this is part of the whole program with the telescopes in the favela as well.
Great. Do you find that people in remote locations have a different understanding of the sky than those that you work with in the cities?
Well, I'll start that because I don't go to remote locations. The favelas are deeply encrusted within the city limits. So they have absolutely the same sky as we do. So, no.
We do find that the people in remote areas are more connected to the night sky because it's clear and it's there, and they use some of that sky. They see it, they're connected to it than the people in our cities. And so we sometimes get some surprise, because our sessions are live, some surprise presenters who help us as they tell us what is in the sky. And it's always a surprise for them to see. I think you saw the children who are being interviewed, how that was from a planetarium and how they felt like this science is now real. It's no longer what we thought we were being lied to, or how excited they were to see Saturn. So as much as they're connected to the sky, obviously the immersive world takes them to a different place.
In my case, in the travel, for example, I arrived to some places in remote cities, in remote places where people have a connection with the skies and they create their own constellation, for example, their own histories about skies in different places in Andina and Cardiac mountains. And they had, for example, an astronomical culture very, very deep, where they not only know about traditional astronomy, but also they know about their own astronomy. And this is magical connection they have with the sky. For example, Inca culture, in Paraguayan culture, Guaranis, etc. They have their own constellation, and this is great. When they see the skies and they don't see the traditional constellation we are accustomed to see, they see their own, and they are agreed to share with you all these experiences.